o'clock came around at p.m., it was time to go make phone calls, and I went outside to make a phone call, and I called my mom, and my mom prayed for me over the phone. I asked her to pray for me, and that gave me strength to try to escape, because I thought that if I had went back into that cell that night, that I was going to get raped and killed. So, and I didn't believe that telling the officers was going to help me at all, because I had asked for help previously to make a phone call to the American consulate, you know, and I was kind of begging them, and they seemed to not really care.
All right, you know what? We've been on this story, folks. This is a heartbreaking story. It is a disgrace that this proud Marine, Andrew Tahmooressi, could still be in prison in Mexico. And the original pictures we all saw of him chained to the bed, as heartbreaking and enraging as they were for me, and I'm sure for you, just imagine being the sergeant's mom. And we are privileged to be joined by Jill Tahmooressi, registered nurse and mother of the Marine Sergeant. Hello, Jill. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for covering Andrew's fight for freedom. He really needs to get out of that Mexican jail.
Well, let me start maybe at the end here and ask you, are you disappointed, satisfied, ambivalent about what our government has done to try to get him out?
I would say I'm disappointed. I'm actually disappointed that the relationships are so much worse than I thought. I mean, I thought we had a very friendly relationship with Mexico. We're allies. I thought that we work cooperatively, but there has not seemed to be any cooperation really from either side.
Well, I think we have a good one-way relationship with Mexico. You know, when what's always gotten me is the Mexican government puts out CDs and DVDs encouraging and teaching their people how to break into our country and how to get our financial assistance once they're here. And yet, when people enter their country from the South, let's say, they're South, there are horror stories. Those people are, if they're not killed often, they're imprisoned without trial. They're just treated terribly. And yet Mexico constantly complains how we treat the illegals who come to this country. So I think it's a one-way street, and I'm seeing that more and more with this case.
Well, I have to wonder, why is it that we have such little power and influence then? I mean, I thought we were America, the superpower. And Andrew is still a Marine. He's under contract in active reserve until August 2016. So in the beginning, I was just hopeful that the United States Marine Corps, you know, the organization itself, would rally and influence to get their Marine back, because he has to be ready for combat duty. And in fact, when I received he received a muster order. He was, his brigadier general was ordering him to report to muster on June 14th. He just got that letter. It was about May 10th. And he obviously couldn't attend the muster because he's in a Mexican jail. I thought that maybe that was the Marine Corps helping to get him out of jail, but that was quickly excused as soon as I reached out to the State Department to explain the situation.
Wow.
The letter said that if he did not attend muster, he would lose his honorable separation and his VA benefits. Yet the muster was excused, and I was hoping it was his ticket home.
Jill, are you convinced or satisfied when John Kerry says, "Oh, we've talked to the Mexican government, and you know we're questioning whether the evidence is strong enough"? I mean, is that enough, or should this be made an issue by the Secretary of State publicly and loudly, and an issue by the President of the United States publicly and loudly?
Well, I mean, I'm a mother, and I gathered the evidence. You know, of course I'm going to defend my son. Of course I'm going to say he's innocent. But I pulled the evidence together in 5 days. You know, I had the VA record that from March 12th that showed that he was there to get treatment for PTSD. He was just diagnosed with PTSD March 12th. So he was there in the area legitimately for help at the VA. He was a Florida resident all of 2013 and had driven out there just to seek care at the VA at an invite of his buddy friend, a Marine who has a Purple Heart, 100% disabled, and gets care at that VA. I had all 3 gun receipts in my hand within 3 days. I had the meritorious promotion to sergeant certificate from the Marine Corps, February 2012. I assume FBI or CIA, whoever, would have seen that he had no criminal record in America. So I had all that evidence in 5 days. I think that the State Department could have had that evidence in 5 days. And then we have the 911 tape that came out.
The call, the tape of
May.
the call, yeah.
Yes, there's a 911 tape where he's calling saying that he's got an emergency. He's accidentally entered Mexico. Please send somebody because they won't let me turn around and go back to the border, and they want to take my guns.
Yeah, it is horrific. And if you could speak to John Kerry, have you spoken to John Kerry or the president? If not, if you could speak to them right now on a chance that they're watching, what would you say to them?
Well, I have an opportunity right now to speak to the president in a sense because I've got a WhiteHouse.gov petition. It's actually President Obama's forum for the American public to petition on issues. If I can get another 10,000 signatures today is the deadline. His procedure is at 100,000 signatures, he will respond. So, America, this is our opportunity to hear from President Obama, because I have not heard from him yet, but he must respond to that WhiteHouse.gov petition, because it's his petition site if I get 100,000 signatures by the end of today.
All right, so it's at WhiteHouse.gov, and everybody should go there. Yes.
Yes, thank you. And it's demand release of Sergeant Tahmooressi from Mexico jail.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely imperative that people do that and that you get the required amount of signatures. Talk about the court case. Yes, I know it was put off now until June. Your son fired his attorneys. Were these American attorneys? Who were they?
No. You do have to. You have to have a Mexican lawyer because it is not the same judicial process. They do not practice common law for a federal case. They practice Neapolitan law. It's like civil law. So you must have a Mexican lawyer because an American lawyer would not know how to engage in that court system. And besides, the court system wouldn't recognize an American lawyer. So I went to the U.S. Consulate Services list. They have a list of recommended attorneys, and the attorney that I selected was, in my opinion, the best one on the list, one because he spoke English, and that was going to be an advantage. Andrew doesn't speak Spanish, and he was actually U.S. trained. He went to the University of Pittsburgh Law School.
Okay, so this is the new one as opposed to the old one?
No, that's the former one.
Oh, that's the one he fired. Okay, well, why did
it turned out being a very disappointing relationship from the very beginning. I honestly do not believe I honestly believe he never should have taken on Andrew's case. He was not prepared. He was not trained. He was not experienced, and he made some big mistakes very early on that compromised Andrew. And so when the very first court hearing was set for this Wednesday, 2 days ago, Andrew already had in motion a transition plan because he could not go to the judge for the first time with a lawyer that was inept.
All right, so are you satisfied? Has he found other lawyers? And
Yes.
And you're satisfied right now with that new attorney?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm highly confident. We're also highly confident that the Mexican judicial system, with this team of lawyers, with this team of attorneys, will be favorable, and Andrew will be released.
How is he?
That was just a matter of time.
How is he holding up?
He's holding up as well as he can be. He's in a different prison where his life has not been. So he's definitely in a safer prison now. So he's holding up because he's not fighting for his life every minute.
And when we saw those pictures of him chained to the bed at the beginning, that's not the case anymore, I hope.
No, he was shackled, 4-point chain restrained to a bed for 35 days, where when he tried to get up, he had such atrophy of his muscles that he couldn't walk for several days. But in the new prison, he's in isolation confinement, which is good because he cannot be with the general populace of cartel murderers, rapists. He needs to be protected. He's an American citizen Marine. So he is in a private area with a 24/7 guard.
All right.
And unshackled.
You're familiar with the We the People website, correct?
Yes, We the People, WhiteHouse.gov petition,
Yeah.
We the People, and please sign the petition.
Yeah, okay, we have it up on the screen right now. Listen, please convey to him that, you know, people care. And unfortunately, this is not getting the coverage it deserves in the mainstream media, I don't believe. And if it did, I think you'd have 1 million signatures already. So that's why you have the effort. And explain to him, please, that if you don't get it, it's not because people don't care, it's because people don't know. As bizarre as that might sound to him, I would think if I were an active Marine and this was happening to me, I would think that my president would be making this an issue, a huge issue, but unfortunately that's not happening. But we'll be in touch with you, Jill, and anything we could do to help you, please don't hesitate to call on us as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I will. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. Jill Tahmooressi, go to that website and We the People and get that petition signed.